right, kids, we're going to begin the broadcast in just one moment. We are live on Facebook at Rob Carson Show. Even though they're trying to shut me down big time. So let's go ahead and get this started, shall we? Welcome to another edition of Rob Carson Show. I guess what in the world is what I do on Newsmax. But anyway, had a successful weekend this weekend. Huge numbers. A lot of people watching the show. A lot of people reacting to my show. You know why? Couple of reasons. We can have fun, right? We can have fun. It's okay to have fun. Maybe laugh occasionally while making a point. It's something I did for decades on the Rush Limbaugh program, writing comedy that made a point. Yeah. So welcome, December 7th, by the way. Date that will live in infamy. I remember when I was a kid, I was in 8th grade. I used to bug the hell out of Mr. Ballantyne. He was my English teacher. And I was very interested in knowing people, and I was a talkative kid, and it was probably a way for me to get away from my lessons and focus on something else. But my English teacher was a survivor of Pearl Harbor. He was I can't remember what ship he was on, but he was there, and I remember used to talk to him about that. So it was an unprovoked attack, kind of like what happened on September the 11th, 2001. That's another day that will live in infamy. So. Had a nice conversation with a neighbor last night. Very, very frustrated and angry and concerned about the election, what we're going to do, who's going to win, and all that stuff. And I said, you know what? The truth comes out, and good wins. And good wins. That's the most important thing. If good did not win, the Soviet Union would still be around, and Hitler's Germany would be run by a nephew. So good is going to win, and I'm not going to stop being optimistic, and I'm not going to stop being positive. Although I was accused of sedition this weekend by a follower because I say 1776 all over again. And it is. There's a new American Revolution happening. Does it have to require gunshots? No. No, I don't think so. So if you consider me saying that it's time to overthrow the government in a peaceful way because it is so effing corrupt, then call me seditious. Call me seditious. That's fine. But the whole swamp needs to be drained. Everything from the FBI, the CIA, and did you hear that Bill Barr says he's going to resign because of President Trump's bullying? This would be, he's their FBI director and is retiring or quitting a job where he didn't do anything but TV appearances. What has he done? He came out and he said that there's no evidence that there was enough fraud to overthrow the election in Joe Biden's favor. How about looking at the vote tally, you moron? How about just opening your eyes and looking at the obvious? The number of votes that came in the middle of the night in 5 battleground states that shut down voting at midnight at the same time, and the media corroborated their reports to say that Joe Biden had won. Come on, give me a friggin' break. And honestly, I used to like this guy. I thought he was kind of this tough guy. He's going to turn around the FBI, but he's just another swamp dweller. Hi, Jesse. How you doing this morning? It's good to have you joining me this morning. I've got a lot of stuff I'm going to get to here, including not only the Georgia Steel, what's going on there, some COVID stuff to get to as well, as COVID ravages the country, even though we have 3 vaccines on the horizon, ready to go. 3 vaccines ready to go. Suddenly, COVID is out of control across the country. California is like 90% closed down. My daughter is home from school. Even though if this were really the plague of a lifetime, you would know dozens of people who have died, right? Wouldn't you know dozens of people who have died? Well, I don't know anybody, and I know that some people have, and if COVID was a comorbidity, then I am sorry for your loss. We need to protect those who are vulnerable, but this shutdown is a joke. And I'll get flagged on Facebook for that. And we'll get into that as well. So let's start off with Rudy Giuliani on Maria Bartiromo show yesterday. Good interview. He's got COVID, by the way. He's in the hospital. He's being taken care of. Here he is talking about what's going on in Georgia.
Ballots without applications, they would have to be thrown out, and that would change the election. So that's where we are right now.
You said you found serious issues with processing of ballots, absentee ballots in Wisconsin.
Oh, let's go back to Georgia.
Excluded all Republicans, all
Here we
Democrats.
go. Let's go back. Hold on.
This is Rudy. Give us a
There we go.
status
Sorry about
check.
that.
You've challenged these 6 swing states. Where are we in each of these states?
There we go.
Well, I think Georgia, we're probably the furthest along. Georgia, of course, had the bombshell evidence of the tape recording of the election center.
Which has not been debunked. I'll get into that very shortly.
With everyone chased out about 2 in the morning, locked down, 5 people left. Luckily, the cameras were on. They didn't know it. And then they took ballots out, hidden under a table all day. And then they spent the rest of the night counting the secret ballots. And clearly secret, phony ballots, in which they excluded all Republicans, all Democrats, all law enforcement. And I think that ended up being about 148,000 to 7,000.
148 to 7,000. Okay? That is the same kind of ratio, actually a little bit less than the ratio in Pennsylvania, where it was 570,000 votes for Joe Biden and 3,200 for Donald Trump. Do you hear that, Bill Barr? Please reside. And hello, Candace, who watches my show on Newsmax and records it every weekend. Thank you.
148,000 for Biden, 7,000 for Trump. So you get a pretty good idea of how they cheated. Georgia also has numerous situations where ballots weren't inspected, ballots were backdated, dead people voting, people from out of state voting, illegal immigrants voting. There are enough illegal immigrants that voted that would change the course of the election. They can't balance the number of ballots they have against the number of ballots that were returned by about 11 or 12,000. That alone would overturn the election. So the state legislature there is disgusted. And they have started a petition to hold their own session, which they're allowed to do under the Constitution. They're the first legislature to do this now.
Come on.
This is a constitutional role that the Founding Fathers gave to our legislatures. They're the ones who are supposed to select the president.
Amen.
Not the governors, not the Board of Elections. They're the ones who have the constitutional obligation to decide on the electors. So in Georgia, they're going to do that.
Love it, love it. Now listen to this. 2,560 felons voted in Georgia. 66,247 unregistered or underage registrants. 2,400 who were not on the state voter rolls. 4,900 who had registered in another state if they registered in Georgia, making them ineligible. 395 people who cast votes in another state for the same election. So double voting, 2 different states. 15,000 voters who had filed national change of address forms without registering, 40,000 people who had moved counties without registering, 1,043 people who claimed the physical impossibility of a P.O. box as their address, unless they're really, really tiny people. 98 people who registered, you know those tiny houses? Maybe not that small. 98 people who registered after the deadline, and 10,000 people who were dead as of election day. That's all in the state of Georgia.
Michigan is considering the same thing, and they're not quite as far along, but they're drafting something right now.
Come on.
And so is Arizona.
Love it.
So those 3 are 3 in which they could very well end up in front of the legislature to decide who the electors are.
And by the way, Sidney Powell got the state of Arizona to allow the an analysis of 22 Dominion voting machines, and 1 in Michigan was found to be moving votes from Biden to Trump. That's 1.
Wisconsin is a lawsuit where Wisconsin has a very strict absentee ballot, and it basically says if you don't have an application for the ballot doesn't count. And there are some 50 or 60,000 ballots without applications. They would have to be thrown out, and that would change the election. So that's where we are right now.
You said you found serious issues with processing of ballots, absentee ballots in Wisconsin.
Remember what Stalin said, it's not who votes, it's who counts the votes.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, what you had in Wisconsin is the same thing that you had every place else, except they have this additional law where you have to have an application. They excluded Republican poll watchers from watching.
They did that all over the country. Why would they do that? Oh, they were hiding something. Duh.
Absentee ballots being counted and mail-in ballots being counted. They exclude Republican poll watchers from the polls.
Why? Because they were hiding, stealing the election. Duh.
They engage in backdating.
Are you listening to this Bill Barr, the guy who says there's no evidence? Please resign today.
In backdating ballots. Several witnesses testified they were trained how to backdate ballots. They registered people who weren't registered under different names. Each one of them has, in one degree or another, almost the same pattern of activity, one a little bit more than others.
So what's going to happen now is the election is going to have to be overturned, and then a whole buttload of people need to go to jail. A lot of people need to go to jail. And the entire system has to be upended. And it's not just local and state governments. It's the federal government. It's the mainstream media, and it is certainly the big social media, who have all worked in concert to throw this election, to keep you down, to shut you up, to breed a narrative that not only why vote because Joe Biden's going to win, to Joe Biden is getting his ass handed to him on election night, and at midnight, 5 battleground states, all chosen, the only ones in dispute, by the way, the only ones who could turn the election, the only ones in dispute, all shut down on election night so they could make up the difference. Donald Trump won in a massive landslide. I have heard 420 electoral votes, according to a server found in Germany, but that's not confirmed. But it was a massive landslide. And you know why I know that? Because we're not stupid. Joe Biden sucked as a candidate. He was awful. He offered nothing. He offered nothing but being an incoherent swamp dweller who has no new ideas. He chose a very unpopular woman to be his running mate. She had no draw at all whatsoever. She was the only person who agreed to do it. The Democrats months ago knew that they had already lost, and they put this into motion. And you know why I know that? Say it with me. Because we're not stupid. This is a guy who was on Mark Levin's show yesterday, Patrick Basham, who is a pollster, I guess. He said that Joe Biden's presidential victory defied important non-polling metrics that have a 100% accuracy rate in determining the winner. Here is a pretty interesting part of this interview with Patrick Basham.
Ballot new voters and those doing the counting would have with those ballots. It is implausible, to put it politely.
Start over from the beginning on that. Here we go.
Presidential primaries, the number of individual donations, how much enthusiasm each candidate generated in the opinion polls. There are sort of a dozen or more of these metrics. Now, these metrics have a 100% accuracy rate in terms of predicting the winner of the presidential election. Some of them are more recent, like Google searches. Others, obviously, like registration trends, have far more history behind them. In 2016, they all indicated strongly that Donald Trump would win against most of the public polling. That was again the case in 2020. So if we are to accept that Biden won against the trend of all these non-polling metrics, it not only means that one of these metrics was inaccurate this time for the first time ever,
yes,
it means that each one of these metrics was wrong for the first time and at the same time as all of the others. It is not statistically impossible, but it's statistically...
Almost, I mean, there's almost, there are very few things that are statistically impossible, like licking your elbow. Maybe that's a bad analogy, but you know what I'm saying.
Implausible. Another way of looking at what happened is to look at how the vote ballots were accumulated and how they were tabulated and counted on election night, and obviously...
And how they poured into the 5 battleground states where the voting counting was stopped at midnight so they could stuff the ballots. It's very clear.
Since then, in fact, in places...
Truckloads of votes and Dominion machines that switched votes from Trump to Biden. We're not stupid.
Like California, they are still counting. And what you see there...
And why they count after the election? It's because they've seen the numbers and they know what they need to add to ensure a Biden victory. They know how many fake ballots they need to print up and insert and dump so he'll win. We're not effing stupid.
A ridiculous, bizarre number of anomalies. Some of them are statistical, some of them are procedural. You have, for example, a historically low ballot rejection rate for absentee.
Now listen to this, because they're trying to do the same damn thing in this runoff election in Georgia. They have several Democrat get-out-the-vote efforts. They've already mailed out 675,000 mail-in votes. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Because they want to throw this one too, and they're so emboldened by the lack of media coverage and lack of interest from the mainstream media, they're doing it again. Stacey Abrams is doing it again. Now listen to this.
And mail-in ballots. Rejection rates, which in the primaries earlier this year were well into the double digits, and which historically have often been very, very high. In these key swing states, or at least in the key swing counties, we're seeing rejection rates of less than 1%.
Okay, which means that all of the ballots that were sent out by mail are accepted, which means that they sent out more votes than were people registered, and they all were meant to vote for Joe Biden. Okay? That's why none of them were tossed out. That's why the massive push for mail-in ballots, and they used coronavirus as the mask for it, okay? They used coronavirus as an excuse for 675,000 mail-in ballots being sent out for the Georgia runoff, let alone millions nationally. They used the coronavirus. This is the reason why the coronavirus is such a big deal. This is why the coronavirus has been used. This is why you are forced to wear a mask every single day. It reminds you that you have something to be afraid of. It reminds you can't leave your home. This is more smokescreen. They're caught more smokescreen right now. Even since the election, you got to stay home in California. You got to stay home. It's a reminder of what happened before Election Day. It's a reminder. So you focus on the coronavirus and not the steal.
Often very close to zero. Now, given the increase in absentee balloting and the lack of experience that most of the new voters and those doing the counting would have with those ballots, it is implausible, to put it politely, that that figure would be as low as it was.
Okay, let me be not as indelicate, or not as delicate as him. It was effing corrupt, okay? They sent out millions and millions of mail-in ballots. This entire COVID incident is a lie. It always has been. I said it from the very beginning. I posted on my Parler page and a bunch of other places. I posted a broadcast I did in March where I said it was BS. It still is BS. It's scaring people for political reasons. It's nonsense. If, in fact, COVID is exploding across the country, why are there not governors screaming out for ventilators? Why is California not asking for a hospital ship to be docked in San Francisco or off the coast of L.A.? What about New York? Why is Chicken Little, the governor in New York, not begging for ventilators or a hospital ship for New York City? It's because they don't need them, and they never did. They never did. Here is Sidney Powell this weekend talking about her front in the Stop the Steal fight.
Settling to know that American elections have been just as rigged as elections in third world countries have been.
Yeah.
I'm sure the CIA has been.
She's crazy, though, right? She's crazy. No.
Been involved in any number of those activities. If not here, in other places around the world, it may have been the CIA that created this software and programs to begin with, and then exported them for their own use, only to have it come back to us. It could be that, very important,
That sounds very conspiratorial, but
powerful, extremely wealthy people were involved.
Mark Zuckerberg.
In rigging this election. It's globalist interest. I mean, frankly, everyone in the world, except for the millions of Americans that wanted to elect Donald Trump to clean up the swamp and drain the swamp, want this world to continue the way it was, with them having all the power and working behind the scenes to
100%. This is the swamp.
Rig elections and everything else so that they could profit from their own nefarious activities. It's massive. I'm sure the media companies are involved in it too. I noticed how all the same night, as if they were queued at once.
100%. And I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to give you proof. that media companies around the country have a unified message and a unified goal.
They stopped counting electoral votes, and the machines stopped counting in the swing states. It was all timed and planned and organized and funded.
100%. Now let me show you the proof, because this is something that I found a couple months ago. These are all independent news organizations around the country. These are different cities, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox affiliates around the country. They normally compete with one another. This is their message about not listening to, not watching Newsmax, not going to Parler or people outside of Facebook and Twitter and YouTube for their news, not looking outside of the networks and the mainstream media. This is what happens. These are all these people normally compete with one another. You tell me this wasn't coordinated.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about troubling trends, irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More along.
Watch us. You can trust us, even though we're all reading from the same script.
Some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fakes aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately,
do you get this? Do you understand what you're watching here? Can you even wrap your mind around these people lying to you? This is invasion of the frickin' body snatchers, okay? That's what this is.
Platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think.
But you can trust us because we're your friends and we serve your community that you love.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Wow.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Wow.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extreme.
I know her. Kelly, she's a nice person. She's been replaced by a Borg or something.
Dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely 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 dangerous to our democracy.
I think this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 I think that's one of the most important videos of the last year. I really do. I mean, I don't care what side of the political persuasion you're on. If you're a Democrat and you think that's cool and you're fine with that, you are messed up. You are freaking messed up, man. Because that is, I mean, come on. Dear Lord. Do you understand now? Maybe you're being fed a line about everything. Wow. By the way, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals located in Georgia has approved a fast tracking of Sidney Powell's lawsuit seeking to gain access to Dominion voting machines in 3 counties from that audit. And then I believe she's doing also 20. She got 22 machines, I heard, in Nevada. So I don't have that right in front of me right now. Fox anchor Chris Wallace is a tool. I used to kind of like him. I kind of put up with him, but I never really, it's like must-see TV, And, of course, he skewed the debate against Trump and toward Biden, and then Fox News imploded after that. He corrected Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar when he referred to Joe Biden as the former vice president, and of course Chris Wallace said he is the president-elect. Thank you very much.
President Trump had worn a mask then and urged everyone to wear a mask then. Back in April, the way Joe Biden is right now, wouldn't we be in much better shape?
Well, Chris, I welcome Vice President Biden to the club. Since the middle of April, the president's guidelines for reopening have called for wearing masks.
President-elect, sir.
The president has called. The president.
You little piece of crap.
Well, Chris, I welcome Vice President Biden to the club. Since the middle of April, the president's guidelines for reopening have called for wearing masks.
President-elect, sir.
The president has called. The president has called masks patriotic acts. Every one of his top advisors, we are out there saying, wear your masks. We talk about the data. You know, Chris, at 1 meter, if 2 people wear the mask, it can reduce viral transmission by 72%, protecting both the source and
blah blah blah. Well, anyway, you get it. Candace says, could you upload that video of the scary media? Yeah, it's already on my Rumble channel. Okay, just go to Rumble. Look up Rob Carson Show. I believe it's up there. If not, I will repost. But I think that's one of the most important videos of the last year. I really do. A lot of people haven't noticed it. A lot of people haven't shared it. Maybe they played it one time. But it is one of the most important videos that we have seen this year. It is. Real quick, before we go any further, I want to mention something to you. If you want to win this, people. This is, let me move this over. Let's move this over. Okay, hang on. There we go. You can win a freezer full of Wagyu beef from Hassel Cattle Company and a Pit Barrel Classic Cooker. All you've got to do is apply at, or I should say, subscribe to my Rumble channel or my YouTube channel at Rob Carson Show. Okay? Felix just won. And he got both of those. He's getting his beef tomorrow, and he got his Pit Barrel Classic Cooker already. So just go ahead and go to rumble.com Rob Carson Show, youtube.com Rob Carson Show, and one lucky subscriber is going to win that incredible prize package just in time for January, because we've already given away the December package, or I should say the January. Well, you know what I mean. The winner will be chosen the last day of the month. All right, let's move on to some more video clips, shall we? I think we shall. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, these up here, these are T-shirt designs. Christmas is coming. How about a super spreader shirt? How about America Supremacist? How about Fake News Channel? All of those on shirts, T-shirts, hats, hoodies, all of that. tpublic.com, Conservatees. Look to my Facebook page if you'd like to, or my Rumble page, or my Parlor page to get the link so you can order any one of those fabulous designs by Christmas, or Hanukkah, whatever. Here's the president this morning. He said that there was a calm before the storm. Something big is happening. This, I know, is about the election and the suit to overturn Joe Biden's supposed victory.
President, what did you mean by calm before the storm yesterday?
Come on.
What did you mean by that?
Thank you very much. You'll find out.
We'll find out.
I love that. Watch this again. Watch this again. Here we go.
Before the storm yesterday, what did you mean by that?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You'll find out.
Come on, baby. We believe you, sir.
We'll see.
He knows. He knows. Yesterday, and I shared this on my show yesterday. You can see it on my Rumble channel. The December 6th show. I covered the president's speech in Florida. Georgia. Sorry. He was in Georgia Saturday night, and he was on fuego. It was amazing. He started off pretty hot, then talked about the senatorial candidates in the runoff, and then he went right back to, I am not letting this go. The election is being stolen. This is the line. This is the line of the night that I loved.
We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up, and we will never back down. We will never, ever surrender.
Yeah, baby.
Because we are Americans, and our hearts bleed red, white, and blue.
Yes, sir. And why are we so passionate about this? Well, let me play a little montage that I found this weekend of what we're up against, why we're so passionate about this president and what he's done, because he's the first president in my memory, other than Ronald Reagan, who has done what he said he was going to do. He has done what he said he's going to do. We also know that if he does not win this is what we're facing.
Frankly, Senator Sanders, Senator Warren, and myself are all on the same team. What are you willing to sacrifice to make sure that overfunded police departments are defunded?
There is no middle road on the climate crisis.
I not only support a Green New Deal, I don't think it goes far enough. I'm all for a Green New Deal. This is part of what gun registration is about. We want to track where the guns are. We need to cut the defense budget.
Popeyes or Chick-fil-A?
Oh, Popeye.
Are you in favor of expanding the court or perhaps an age limit in place instead of a lifetime appointment?
Look, I've said everything is on the table.
But if we win the majority, everything is on the table.
Now we take Georgia, and then we change America.
Change is coming to America.
The blue wave is comprised of those who are documented and
There's Stacey Abrams. What a POS.
undocumented.
We win these races in Georgia so that we don't have to
She wants undocumented people to vote.
negotiate.
That's their goal. Total radical control to bring horrific change to America. Only Georgians can stop them.
Nobody can serve God and the military.
Raphael Warnock attacks our military.
Police power, the kind of
This man is frightening.
gangster and thug mentality.
Warnock attacks our police.
Somebody's got to open up the jails.
Raphael Warnock is dangerous. No wonder he defended this.
Not God bless America, God America.
Now, my hope is that in early January, Democrats will pick up 2 more seats in the Georgia runoffs, and that will make our life a lot easier.
Okay, so obviously it's important that the Georgia runoffs go to Republicans. But also, if you saw the beginning of that, you saw what we're up against and what we're not going to let take over the country. Guys, there were more than 80 million people who voted for Donald Trump. No 80 million people voted for Joe Biden. Dear God, are you kidding me? Hello to my niece, Shelby. How are you? How are you? She says, I sure don't want that for my children. Well, your children are already being indoctrinated. It might be a little different in rural Iowa, but the 1619 Project, among other things, showing that your kids are white supremacists, showing that your kids are white privileged if you're white. This is about draining the swamp. This is about turning... We've already said no to all of that. We said it at the ballot box on November the 3rd. And then in 5 states, the counting was stopped. And the voter rolls were overrun with fake ballots, mail-in ballots. And they're trying to steal the election. A storm is coming. The president just said it. This is also what will happen if Democrats are in office. This is what Joe Biden says what Christmas should be like.
And I hope you all are listening, as with all the trouble you're going through, you cannot be traveling during these holidays as much as you want.
Where are the pits of bodies? Where are the hundreds and thousands of Walmart employees who should be dead of COVID because they've worked every day since it all began? What about Home Depot? What about Lowe's? What about your grocery store?
I have a large family. Brock used to.
What about all of the Democrats who have said one thing and done another with regard to COVID lockdowns? You stay home, but I'm going to go to a birthday party. You stay home, but I'm going to travel to Cabo. You stay home, but I'm going to have dinner with my elderly mother on Thanksgiving. Give me a break. We're not stupid.
Tell me about it. I mean, everything for me is family, beginning, middle, and end. When one comes, everybody comes.
Yeah, because you expect your family members to give you 10%. 10%. 10%, like your son. Your son, who has not been who's not a single story about this this laptop they found that is undeniable. Not one single story since Election Day about Hunter Biden.
I'm joking. I'm not. We would have 16 people go away every Thanksgiving. My deceased son, before he passed away, we'd all go away, and we'd go away on Thanksgiving to be just...
Everybody stay home. Stay home. If you heard your local newscasters there, don't listen to that other media. They're lying to you. Stay home. Don't dine out. Don't go out. Don't have members of other households in your house for Christmas this year. Don't listen to the other media. Those stories are fake. Listen to us. Are you listening to all of this? Are you going, this is the stuff of movies that we've been afraid of? Don't listen to those other people. What? Don't go over to Parler. I mean, Facebook is where you find truth. Even though Facebook, the day after the election, took down all of my pages, all of them, even my cooking page, even my personal page with family pictures. I couldn't even message my mother the day after the election. Unbelievable. Here's an unhinged teacher in traffic. This is in Portland, oddly enough. I know, because this is about masks. They had an anti-mask protest in Portland. And this is a very polite teacher in traffic giving the anti-mask protesters a little what for. Man, where is a carton of eggs when you need it? I would love to hurl an egg right into her face. Throw just a glass of really cold water. Wow. I just saw a really cool comment from someone here. Carol says that she's worked in the ER since it began 5 days a week. Carol, what have you seen? I'd like to know. I'd like to know. Is it the crisis? Is it killing young people? Should we stay home from church? Should we not assemble together? Should we not have Christmas together? Carol, write me back. I want to see on the comments there. I want to see if you think all of this is real. Okay? And what city do you work in? I'd like to hear that as well. Back to the crazy teacher. I am so not hot for this teacher. Wow. I hope you get fired. This is insanity. Wow. This person is teaching someone's children. Wow. You are crazy, girl. There's your license plate and the whole deal. This is a kid in South Dakota. I'm not sure if he goes to Vermilion, but this was a kid in college who had something to say about the shutdown and how it's destroying him and other kids. And I want you to think about this. I've got a little girl in the other room. She's 15 years old. She can't go to school. She's remote learning in her room by herself. No friends, no prom, no school dance, no graduation. Kids are killing themselves. Kids are having their athletic careers destroyed, their academic careers destroyed, their performance careers destroyed. You can't go to a school play for Christ's sake. Listen to this young man. He's very astute, by the way.
My name's Anthony. I'm a student from the South Dakota School of Mines, and I represent SD Mines Young Americans for Liberty.
There we are.
The largest and most active student political organization in the state. And I'm here to tell you, we're very familiar with COVID policy and what it does. The destruction that it has caused to academics, social life, mental health. Everyone's talked about it here. This is not a health program, clearly. This is a political program that is harming our businesses. It is shutting down businesses, transferring wealth and power to people like you. And there's going to be a cost for this. You've seen all kinds of groups show up today, people from all kinds of walks of life, different coalitions and clubs, and they're going to keep you up late tonight. And they're going to continue to show up. Who's to say they can't show up at the doors of your constituents?
Yes.
And at more of your meetings, and outside your city hall. You cannot continue on this path. How much longer do you think you can trample over people's lives, on people's dignity, without a reaction?
Love this kid.
You might be listening to academics, compromised academics, and media heads from the coast, from your CNN or wherever. This is South Dakota, where under God, the people rule. And I see some of you flinch at that. I see some of you flinch when that's mentioned. It's very curious. Hear that? We're out here, and we're going to continue to show up. Remember that.
Oh, buddy. Woo-hoo-hoo. This is interesting. I'm going to play this one more story. I think I got like one or two more stories here. I do appreciate you joining me this morning. This is a pastor who appeared on Tucker Carlson's show, who apparently there were anonymous complaints at his church of the pastor giving fist bumps. Apparently fist bumps will kill people, supposedly. I mean, people are insane right now. A little bit of this story. I think it's kind of funny.
Well, we saw a kind of shocking story today that the pastor at the Community United Methodist Church in Pasadena, Maryland, got a citation last month from state officials concerning his compliance with corona law. So we reached out to the health department in Anne Arundel County, Maryland, for an explanation.
Maryland.
They told us they'd received complaints of, quote, handshaking, high fives, and get this, fist bumps.
You can't get corona from fist bumps or handshaking.
By the congregation. Now, that's illicit worship in the state of Maryland. Hard to believe this is America, but it is. So they swooped in to put an end to that, the fist bumps especially. Is it legal for our government to police how Americans, still protected by the Bill of Rights, worship their God?
I know, isn't that weird?
God in church. The Reverend Dennis Jackson is the pastor at Community United Methodist Church, and we're happy to have him on tonight. Pastor, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. And let me just say, this is the first I've ever heard or seen of anything like that going on in the context of our church services or worship. I mean, we are very much sticking to social distancing. Everybody has to wear a mask. We have.
Can you imagine people being ratted out? Can you imagine a pastor being ratted out for fist bumps? Are you out of your mind?
Hand sanitation stations right as you come into.
Are you hiding any Jews here? Yes, I did that intentionally.
Lobby, and also right before you go into the sanctuary, we have pews marked off to make sure that we keep distance.
I need to see one case of someone getting COVID and dying from going to church or dining outside.
We have pews marked off that I think it's 20 or 30 feet from.
Or going to a concert.
The pulpit.
Or going to school.
To make sure that we stay far enough away. I mean, I'm not sure who saw what, but I wonder if they were in a different place church than I.
Again, are you hiding any Jews? That's not extreme. That's not an extreme comparison. It's not. 2020 exists because it's 2020. It's not different than last year. It isn't. If you look at the death statistics in the United States, they've not risen. They haven't. Look, check the CDC. You're being played. Carol says, our beds are full at our emergency room with different illnesses. It's not a crisis. We do have COVID, many cases coming in for testing, but are released. Taylor, Michigan, Sharon, Michigan. Okay, very few medical people ill with a mild case. So far, I'm in good shape and good health. Well, God bless you, Carol. I appreciate you. Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Nearly 85% of California residents are now under sweeping new restrictions as the state struggles to bring the COVID-19 pandemic under control. The new restrictions come as coronavirus cases continue to surge. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. The latest directive will be felt in nearly every aspect of daily life. You can't make a living. You have to stay home. You have to be helpless. Don't listen to the other media. Don't listen to the other media. It's fake news. Keep listening to us. ABC, CBS, MSNBC, CBS, or PBS. Listen to us. Don't listen to those other people. They're telling you a lie, even though we're reading from the same script. Yeah. Listen to us. Wow. And I wonder why my numbers are growing dramatically. No, I don't really. I'm not a liar. I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not here to direct you from something else. Watch CNN. I don't give a crap. If you want to watch it, go for it. If you want to watch Fox, I don't care. You make the conscious decision whether you feel they're telling you the truth or not. And then you watch the thing that is truthful. Maybe you think it's me. I hope you do, because I'm not here to bullshit you. All right? I'm not here to bullshit you. I'm not here to convince you not to watch something else. I'm here to just tell you my take on things. One of the great things, and I waited forever to do talk radio. I'm in my early 50s now. I waited forever because I think that if you're really going to have a take on something, life experience is a big part of it. And I've got a lot of it. And I think that I have some really good things to say from my life experience. And again, I'm not here to mislead or misguide, or I certainly am not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not stupid either. It asks residents to stay at home as much as possible for 100% masking, of course, when you're outside, because masks remind everyone about the pandemic. They're a constant reminder of why you should be afraid and why you need to be controlled and why you can't go to restaurants and why you can't make a living and why your kids can't go to school. You've got to wear that mask every day. You have to wear that mask every day. If you don't wear that mask every day, you're going to kill everybody, and you're going to have to drive in traffic like a teacher and scream at people for suggesting not wearing a mask outside. Restaurants will be open only for takeout or pickup, while businesses such as hair and nail salons, movie theaters, and bars will be closed. Playgrounds, museums, and zoos will be closed as well. So even your children can't go to the playground. Wow. Wow. If you are okay with this, then get on the train and go to the Japanese internment camp. And I'm saying this for all Americans, but this is what happened in World War II. Fear led to the internment of an entire race of individuals, nationality. And now instead of Japanese, it's people who deny that COVID is going to kill you. People who deny that wearing masks is the best preventative method. People who would watch news that's, outside of the fringe. If you watch Newsmax or you subscribe to Parler, wow. Wow. All right. I think that's going to do it for me today. I was going to do some video of, you want to see Antifa getting its ass kicked in Washington? Should we do that? You want to do that real quick? And this is the great thing. Antifa is such a toothless little, they're great when they're thugs and they have their backpacks. And nobody's ever asked them, or no news organization has ever taken an Antifa person, open the backpack and see what's inside. What you'd find in there is weapons. What you'd find in there is bottles of frozen urine, bags of feces, pepper, mace, all of these things. You'd find all of these things in the back of knives, guns, etc. But no, there's no curiosity from the mainstream media, who, by the way, say that you should only watch them because everybody else is lying. Here is Antifa. The little snowflake Antifa is getting their asses handed to them by some patriotic Americans in Washington State.
If you guys burn that flag, it's not going to end good.
Yeah, if you're going to burn that flag, it's not going to end good, because the Antifa there, they're going to burn some flags. And again, these Antifa, they are children. Like, look at her in the front there. Wow, I'm terrified. Oh my God, I can't take that. Take the flag. Here we go. There's some pepper spray out of somebody's book bag. Backpack. These Antifa people, they're probably like 12 or 14 years old, maybe 15. I don't think somebody's going to take the flag from the AR toting dude.
So you got...
You fuck with our flag, we fuck you up, you understand? We're not gonna take your shit.
Bye-bye, Antifa. Bye-bye, Antifa. Bye-bye, Antifa.
Get out of here.
Bye-bye. Go home.
Get the fuck out.
Go home. Can we come up with another word? I mean, the F word is really, I mean, it's a wonderful word when you want to express things, you know. And listen, I don't use it generally here, but the F word puts an exclamation point on stuff. But maybe we need a new word. Maybe we need a new word. It's got to be an overused, like get the duty out of here. It doesn't have the impact, does it? Doesn't. All right, before I go, I want to remind you to please, let me find this. Here we go. See, I have to run everything myself because I don't have a director and a producer and all that stuff. So I have to go over here and I have to click on this. There you go. See, I did that. Off, on, off, on, off, on. I do that. Yeah. There you go. You got to subscribe to Rob Carson Show on Rumble or YouTube if you would like to win a freezer full of Wagyu beef from Hassel Cattle Company. Go to HassleCattleCompany.com if you want to order some of that glory. Oh my God, it's the best steak you've ever had in your life. And I know my steak. It is glorious. Wagyu beef. Angus bred with these Japanese cattle, the Kobe cattle. Creates the American version of Kobe, which is Wagyu. Oh my God in heaven. You're going to get jerky. You're going to get burgers. You're going to get all sorts of stuff. It's the best. And then a pit barrel classic cooker created by Noah and Amber Glanville. The best cooker / smoker in the history of mankind. It will last you the rest of your life. Pit barrel classic is coming your way. But you got to subscribe to rumble.com and youtube.com. Rob Carson Show off. There you go. Time for me to go. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for watching me on Newsmax. If you would like to see the archive of Newsmax, just go to newsmaxtv.com and go down to my show profile. You can see archives of my show. And I know that there are more people than I can count who are watching the show every weekend, and I thank you very much for that. I thank you so much. Go to tpublic.com, conservatees, order Super Spreader for Christmas. America Supremacist. Fake news channel. All of these designs, Party Like It's 1776, all of these designs right there at TeePublic. Look for conservatees. Order now, because it takes a couple weeks for your stuff to get there. And if you want to buy Christmas, you got to order now. All right? I would greatly appreciate it. It would be a blessing in my life. I am on Parler.com. I am on Rumble.com. And I am in Megabook.com. Have a glorious day. God bless you. And I will talk to you again soon. Way up.